Hello, this is Judy Bartkowiak from NLP and EFT Kids. I haven't actually posted a podcast for some time. I'm not too sure why. I know one's supposed to have a proper sort of organized routine and be consistent and so on, but I tend to wing it a bit and really post something when I feel I have something to say. Whether or not you feel it's worth listening to is very much up to you. But this post is about taking chances versus playing it safe. It was actually prompted by my game of tennis this morning. As many of you who follow me know, I am actually an NLP sports practitioner, as well as working with children and teens. And I'm a very keen sports person. I play a lot of tennis, cycling, skiing, and I used to play hockey competitively. And I do a lot of sports, actually. I love sport. And I was playing sport this morning. I was playing tennis this morning, and it was a club tennis session. And I was really playing around with trying a little bit harder, taking more chances. Usually in club tennis, I'm very conscious that the idea is it's social, it's not about sort of winning at any cost for sure. And I'm not actually that competitive. I enjoy just being outside in the fresh air with people I know, being able to laugh and joke and not take it too seriously, but on the other hand, enjoy the game. So I was working this morning a little bit more, pushing myself a little bit more, trying to aim for the baseline and try to getting it in the tram lines and really working harder, trying harder with my serve rather than just getting it in, really trying to position it much better than I normally do. and and this was really, I felt, about taking a chance, stepping out of my comfort zone. You know, in club tennis or probably in most tennis, I'm very conscious that I don't want to let my partner down. I don't want to do any sort of tricky shots, try to be clever and then lose us the point. But actually, today I thought I'm going to really push myself a little bit more and take a few chances. Luckily, the person I was playing with was very good, so I did feel that I was well supported, and we sort of talked a little bit about it. And it went really well. We actually won all three sets. And I did feel that some of the things I tried worked well, others slightly less so. But I was generally pleased, more not so much with the result, but actually with the attitude of going for it a bit more than I would normally do. And that made me think about other areas of my life, our life, where we can push it a bit. I mean, sport's an obvious one, isn't it? Because, it's about performance as well. And, we do want to get a better time, we want to score more goals, and so on. But what about in other areas of our lives where we could perhaps step out of our comfort zone? Maybe we could take a few more chances. And I thought of a few things, and I don't know what you think, but my list was initiating a sensitive topic. You know, sometimes we perhaps avoid the sort of areas where there might be the potential for an argument or a bit of bad feeling. Maybe the kids are in earshot. You don't want to really, have a row or anything like that. But what if instead of sort of hedging around it, avoiding it, we actually did initiate some of these more sensitive topics? Because I feel that when we do that, okay, we make ourselves vulnerable in much the same way as, you make yourself vulnerable in sport, don't you? If you push yourself out of your comfort zone, because you might get it wrong, you might, lose the point, and that wouldn't be good, really. Although it is something I'm fairly used to. So yes, what about sort of initiating a sensitive topic? And there are quite a few topics around at the moment that are quite sensitive, aren't there? I'm thinking, particularly money and finances at the moment. I mean, everyone's worried. Is that something that could be broached and climate change, what you could do as a couple towards that, and other aspects of your perhaps more personal life. Another one is giving awkward feedback. I suppose that's a little bit similar, but when you sort of gritting your teeth a little bit and sort of holding back from saying something, but maybe um, again, sort of pushing out of your comfort zone a bit and maybe giving some slightly awkward feedback to your partner. Or indeed a friend. I mean, a relationship can be friend, partner, husband, wife, etc. And the third thing I had on my list was saying no. As women in particular, I would say we have a tendency to people please, to be obligers. If you look at the Gretchen Rubin four tendencies, the obliger, where you'll sort of do whatever, in order to please other people. And saying no is really important, because when we say yes, when we really ought to have said no because we're really busy, we really can't do it, etc., etc., that does have an adverse effect on our mental health. And in fact, a lot of women suffer from migraines as a result of struggling to say no. And of course, it is something we want our children to know. We want them to learn how to say no. So if they're not going to learn from us, then who are they going to learn from? Well, yes, sure, from the teacher, but actually, shouldn't we be showing them what our no sounds like as well as our yes? And a calm no. I don't mean a shouty no when it's like, no, don't do that. But more of a sort of, a calm no, that doesn't seem a good idea, or no, I'm afraid I can't. I'm not going to be going in that direction, or no, I can't wash the PE kit tonight because I'm actually on a call or I'm going out, etc. And then I was thinking of children. I'm afraid my list darts around a bit. It's not in any sense logical. But then I was thinking of children and the struggle a lot of children have to put the hand up. They'll put the hand up in class when they're pretty sure they've got the right answer. But I've certainly spoken to kids who've said that they don't put their hand up in case it's wrong. But then I've asked them, well, when the child, in your class who gives the answers, and it's right, is that actually what you would have said? And they said yes. So, kids are not putting their hand up for fear of being laughed at, being judged, looking stupid, getting it wrong, of course. But what if they actually put their hand up even when they're not sure that they've got it right? They might be pleasantly surprised. And also, I mean, there's lots of ways that children can step out of their comfort zone, isn't there? Lots of ways they can take chances. I mean, nobody wants your children taking chances that could be dangerous. I'm not obviously not talking about that. I'm talking about just chances in much the same way as my example about the tennis, which is what prompted this post, which is to take just a little chance of maybe just trying something you haven't tried before. So, also, something that's school related is talking to someone you don't know very well. A lot of children say they'd like to have more friends, but they're not very good about initiating conversation, going up to somebody that they don't know and just starting a conversation. In fact, sometimes I've even sat down with a child and said, well, let's think of the sort of ways you could start a conversation and what you could say. And actually, they've got loads of ideas. It's just that before they can actually go up to somebody, they feel that they need to know it'll go well. Well, of course, that's the chance element, isn't it? It may not go well. I'm sure there are so many examples in school and to do with schoolwork and homework. When kids say, I can't do it, no, I'm wondering what it'll look like when you have. Show me when you have. What do you need in order to be able to do it? Instead of a lot of parents, I think, say things like, oh, of course you can, you'll be fine. You're really good at such and such a subject. And they just sort of, maybe they have a go. But what if, instead of us saying, no, you'll be fine, you'll be great, etc., saying sort of, have a go, because you'll learn more by pushing yourself. And they'll certainly learn more by pushing themselves than by us helping them. And certainly not by us doing their homework for them. I have actually spoken to a number of mums who say that they actually do their children's homework for them. And that the last one was somebody whose child was in the first year of secondary school, which was quite surprising, I thought. So how can you push them a little bit to take a chance? It's only by doing that you actually create more confidence, more possibilities. Have a think about that. And I was thinking also about family life. I've just come off Zoom actually with a client in Australia, helping her with some of her sort of, family type issues. And she's very much a doer. She has to be doing something. There's always something to do. And I was talking to her about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and the distorted feminine and the distorted masculine. And just in case you're not familiar with this concept, the divine feminine is very much about the being fully present and being in the moment and being available to our family. The distorted feminine is much more about the sort of the makeup, the hair, the clothes, and sort of really putting it out there, sort of out into the world, rather than being somebody who the world comes to, and being that safe sort of harbour, if you like, that centre of the family. And that isn't about not working. I can assure you, I'm a big fan of working. But this is the thing. She was as well. She is, and so the divine masculine does enough, does what needs to be done. And these aren't actually genders, of course. This is energy, which might be a bit too woo-woo for you, which is absolutely fine. So the divine masculine is about organizing, doing, working, getting things done. So the divine masculine is doing, the divine feminine is being. The distorted feminine is like being an exaggerated version of yourself. And the distorted masculine is also being an exaggerated version of yourself. So it's just constantly doing, always something else to do. And the sad thing was, she said that when they got back from school, her kids, it's in Australia, obviously it's in the summer, her kids were playing under the sprinkler, and they said, come on, mummy. And she said, no, I must go and do some work. And for her, that was about the doing was more important. And we talked a bit about intention and impact, because her intention was to show that there has to be order. She was sort of trying to, in a sense, educate her children that, one has responsibilities, one has to do these things. But when she thought about what the impact might be on the children, it was that, mummy's too busy to play with us. So for her, taking a chance would in fact be to say, no, I'm actually going to play. I'm going to play with my children. The work can wait, because that would be being in the moment, being fully present for her children, with her children, having some fun, as opposed to doing those things that she feels she should do, must do, which in NLP terms is called the modal operator of necessity. I must go and do some work. So we talked about how she might do that, and that's what she's going to work on this week. I'm looking forward to seeing her this time next week to see how she gets on with that. So to focus on the focus on the being rather than the doing, to stay still, to listen. How about, taking a chance that actually, if you do that, okay, things that you might feel ought to be done won't be done. On the other hand, what is the benefit that you'll get? Also, another thing might be another way you could take a chance is to talk about your own struggles. And, let's face it, money's on everyone's mind at the moment. How about opening that up with the family? Even young children, you can use that as an opportunity to talk about money, to use sort of use that to show that there's a finite amount of money. There's these number of sort of coins. You can use coins or stones or whatever you want to make it a bit more sort of meaningful to them, and then sort of say, well, this has to go on this has to go on this, etc. And to talk about how as a family you can work together as a team, and how they could all help by things like turning off lights, turning down the radiator, putting on a jumper, being in the same room. I mean, it's not something teens really want to do, is it? But to have a radiator on in each of their rooms, at the moment, is this something that you as a family want to do? Maybe it would be an excuse to actually get them in the same room with you for a change. So this is really what I wanted to say. Um, I think we tend to get into a rut a little bit, and be how we always are in terms of sort of our comfort zone and so on, what we're able to do, and not push ourselves to do any more, or to do things differently. My question is, what would it be like to take a chance as opposed to playing it safe? I definitely don't want anybody doing anything dangerous. I don't mean that. But so by playing it safe, I don't literally mean that. But do something that you don't normally do. Push yourself a little bit to take a chance. Be rather than do. And, open up conversations that perhaps you've been avoiding. You just don't know where that might go. And, if it's done gently and with that intention, with the intention to connect rather than the intention to correct them, or to to have a go, to complain or whatever. Instead, if you think of the intention being to get your relationship on a slightly more sort of connected level, to get to know each other a little bit more and to speak a bit more openly about things. I know that can be really tricky when you've got kids around. I remember it well, sort of having the children around with their beady eyes and their ears up as antennae, sort of trying to figure out what's going on, what are they talking about. So you might actually need to sort of get out of the house, or find a quiet space. But yeah, just to move things along a bit, just push things a little bit. Okay, I hope you're finding this helpful, and I'll find something interesting to say on another podcast, because there's lots of ideas I have, but this one really was just one that just popped to the surface today. Okay, bye then.